This is the second installment in a series of videos that we're doing, informative videos on different aspects of living in Cairo. And these videos are for basically anybody who would like to come either visit, work, or is just in general interested in Egypt, or would like to know about it, whether or not they want to move here or not. If you just want to learn about a different place, then the last episode we did was on transportation, and if you haven't checked it out, then you should definitely check that one out. So this video is going to be about jobs, finding jobs, what you need to do if you're.
So we're all working men. That's what we know about.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna move over here, unless you've got like a trust fund or something, or if you're just really a lucky dude and you've got a ton of money, you're gonna need to be working. So I think it's important. A lot of people, when they come over here, they need to find something to do with their time that's productive. So
for the first couple of months that I was here, I wasn't doing anything much in the way of jobs. Basically, I was selling cookies and cupcakes to high school and middle school age kids for a while. It wasn't the most glorious job, but I got some free sweets every now and then, which I liked. I did that for a little while. I did some volunteering after that. I figured out that wasn't really going anywhere and it wasn't quite worth my time.
You were volunteering at a church?
Yeah, I mean, at the same time that I was doing that, I was volunteering. I was teaching some English classes at a church.
Are you talking about your volunteer at Better World?
No, this is before that, yeah.
You should say something about it.
So yeah, I was going to go to that. So I decided the cookie selling was taking up a little too much of my time and not paying me as much as I would like, so I decided to quit and work for free. So after that, I started volunteering at an NGO here and spent some time like kind of managing their offices. And actually through that met somebody who was working at a consulting firm here, and they put my name into their boss and recommended me, and that's how I actually landed my job that I'm at right now.
That if you are starting off in the States, whether you have a job or not, and the job that you may have is going to hopefully tell you exactly what you need to bring with you when you come to Egypt. For teaching jobs, this is definitely inclusive of your diplomas, probably letters of experience, which by that they mean sort of a mixture between letter of recommendation / that you actually did these things that you're saying so. So if you have a teacher certification, you need that. All of these documents need an official seal or stamp, and they also probably need a signature.
Yeah.
Signatures here are not as important as stamps. Stamps in the United States, at least, stamps not really important. It's the signature that's important. In Egypt, the stamp is critical.
But this
I had to send letters back to the States and then back to Egypt simply for a stamp. They were signed, they had the letterhead, they were on official paper, so on and so forth. They didn't have a stamp, it wasn't acceptable. So if you have a job already lined up, they should tell you exactly what you need. Obviously your passport, work visas we'll deal with in a minute. You get them when you're already in Egypt. But these are the type of documents. Birth certificate, you said. I didn't bring my birth certificate with me, but you said you needed a birth certificate. If you're married, especially if you are getting a visa for your partner, and they're not working at the same place or so on and so forth, you will need a marriage license. These are the kind of documents that you should definitely bring with you. Make copies, bring copies, keep copies in the States, but bring the originals. What they're interested in is the originals, not even a notarized copy.
This touches on something I want to say, just like as a quick side note. It might not be the most relevant thing, but in general, like certificates are really big and important here. They might not be for foreigners coming here looking for jobs, but for a lot of Egyptians here, I know like getting certificates for the different like classes or programs or something that you've completed and skills that you have is like a really, really like important thing on your resume or your CV. So that's part of the reason why like there's such emphasis placed on like you having all the paperwork with stamps and everything and it being official to like certify that you've done these things. It's just part of the culture.
As a general rule of thumb, bring every single document that you've ever had.
Anything that
every certificate. If you've won like 3rd place in like the relay races and
if you've got a stamp,
you know what I mean, like just bring the document. It's gonna fit, and it's in a flat piece of paper. Put it in your luggage. Bring it with you because you're probably gonna need it when you come here, and it's gonna help you if you're looking for a job.
Say one last thing about the documents. Particularly if you're coming over with a job that has already hired you, you've signed the contracts, you're coming for that job, they will probably take care of getting you the work visa. They'll go down and go through all the bureaucratic bullshit in order to get you the work visa, and you won't have to worry about it. Just give them your passport, give them the documents, they'll do it for you. One day it'll magically arrive. Now, if you're finding a job here, and sometimes even if you've already had the job and they aren't going to take care of you as well, you might have to go through a process that I think Randall can speak to more because he's actually gone through it.
Oh, going through the Mogama. Okay, yeah, so the place that you go, if you happen to be in the situation where the place that you work at is expecting you to take care of those things for you, is called the Mogama. The Mogama is located in Tahrir Square. It's in central Cairo. It's in the downtown area of Cairo. And the Mogama is basically a big governmental building, and it's going to have a lot of different departments. It's going to deal with it has a whole range of offices. From all kinds of people are going in there.
I don't even know what else goes on at the Mogama. There's like one half of a floor that's dedicated to like visa and passport issues, and it's like a 20-floor building.
It's a big governmental building, and there's probably a few others like it. But the Mogama is the major one that you're going to deal with as a foreigner. And in the Mogama, you're going to get your visa, your work visa. And you need to basically bring an application. You need to go to like the 2nd floor or whatever. You go up there, 2nd, 3rd floor, you go up to the Mogama. And you give them all the information that we're talking about. You give them a letter from the place that you're working at, and they're going to give you your work visa. That's all that you need to really know. They're going to tell you once you get there, they speak English, they're going to tell you once you get there what you need to do. And it's going to be, possibly if it's your first time, it's going to be a stressful experience, but once you've done it, you kind of know how it works, and it's not going to be that really big of a deal. It's not expensive. It costs less than $20 American to go through the whole process. It's not really a big deal. Before we start talking about teaching, I'd really like to speak about something that's similar to teaching, which is tutoring, that everybody kind of has an opportunity to do. I think, Theo, you touched on it, but pretty much...
I'd say I had it in my mind as a backup plan because there's kind of a certain deadline. If you want to be a teacher, you have to decide to be a teacher so you can start the official school year. But tutoring is something that pays really well. Like the parents, generally the kids at those private schools are fairly well off, and their parents will be willing to pay substantially for an English-speaking American/Western educated foreigner to do one-on-one tutoring with their child. So it's something that you could kind of pick up some extra cash very easily doing, and I was always keeping it in my mind as fallback. If I didn't find a job and I needed some cash, I could tutor for a little while.
It's fairly lucrative, is it not?
From what I've heard, it's like 100 to 200 pounds an hour, which is like $20 to $40 an hour, which is
pretty good.
A lot of money.
Yeah, it's like $20 an hour.
So if you wanted to come here and like not work too hard, you could probably do that.
You could definitely do that. I mean, if you
however, if you do have a teaching contract, sometimes that will preclude you from engaging in tutoring, especially of students and school-age kids. That doesn't mean that now nobody's going around and knocking on doors and making sure that you're not in some apartment tutoring somebody. However, just be aware that most contracts for teaching preclude you from tutoring.
And before we go any further, I'd just like to mention that Chris worries a lot. And